Namaste everybody, my name is Nora. My studio is Think Off the Mat. So we've seen how we can stabilize and strengthen the wrists and the wrist joint itself. So let's look at the shoulder girdle, the shoulder joint right now. Okay, so when we place too much weight on our hands without awakening or activating the shoulder girdle, then the wrist joint at some point will start to feel really tired and sore, and maybe even in the long run you may incur maybe slight inflammation because there's too much weight on the wrist joint. So the thing that we have to think about is how to balance that out by using the shoulder girdle. All right, so when we are in any position with the hands onto the mat, just take dog pose for example. When we place too much weight on the hands itself, on the palms itself, without activating the shoulder girdle, we could feel a lot of strain, not only in the wrist joint, but also in the neck itself. Just notice from here how short the length of my cervical spine, my neck is. Now look at what I'm doing to my shoulders now, all right? I'm really pulling the shoulder blades, all right, back and down away from my ears. And when I do so, I'm also really instinctively plugging my humerus bone, which is my upper arm bone, back into my shoulder socket like that. So when I pull the upper arm bone back into my shoulder socket, not only am I stabilizing the shoulder joint itself, all right, but when I come into this particular action of movement or moving the shoulder heads back, what I'm doing, I'm also bringing the awareness into my lats right here and the serratus anterior. So all these little muscles in between your rib cages. So now when you're on your hands, you're really sharing the load of the entire body, not just in your arms, but you start to bring your awareness down into these areas here. And that will give you a lot more support and strength in your arm balances. Not only your arm balances, but in your dog pose and any other positions that require you being on your hands. And from dog pose, when we rise up into plank position here, the same thing happens. All right, when you ground the palms down, instead of just allowing the shoulders to collapse, we're plugging the shoulder heads back, pull the arm bones up. And we want to keep this all the way so that now you feel strength in your shoulder girdle itself. You want to keep that and follow through into a chaturanga, so our four-limbed supported pose. Now when you move forward, check out where my elbows are. When I move forward in chaturanga, which is the basis of a lot of your arm balance, when you bend the elbows, you want to make sure that the elbows are over your wrist joint itself. You want to make sure that this doesn't happen. When you're in plank and when you're looking down a chaturanga, look at where my elbows are. If my elbows are behind my wrist, I lose a lot of strength and support in my upper body. When my elbows are stacked over my wrists, I'm able to gain a lot more strength right here. In chaturanga, in plank, obviously dog pose, your elbows are behind your wrists, but that is just the nature of that shape itself.